You see these fans, you know you've got the best in the damn world.
This is the Wrestling Matters podcast where we stand up for professional wrestling.
Here we fucking go!
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change!
Professional wrestling! This is it! This is us standing up! Yes! 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 Yes!
That's 13-14!
Dina, I am the best in the world.
Cause that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold said so.
Hello everyone, my name is Anthony Walker. Welcome to another installment, episode 124 of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Yes, how are we all doing? Hope you guys are well. In one of it is you are doing. Today's show, I've got a lot to talk about in part one, so I'll get to that in a second. I'm going to talk Raw, Smackdown, Eva Marie is a joke. Get to that later as well. We're going to talk NXT, Ring of Honor, ICW, and TNA as well. And if I have time, I will throw in another top 10. There's been quite a few top 10s out there. I'll throw another one in as well. Also, as well, there'll be a few other things throughout this podcast as well, so be on the lookout for that as well. I will throw them in at some point, so just look out for that. Whatever happens on this podcast happens. You can listen to the Wrestling Matters podcast on Swerve Network. Check it out on the Swerve Network with Max Wrestling, Sunday Segway, Offshoot Radio, and I believe from what I've heard, Evan McCabe's podcast is no more. From what I've heard, I believe he's packed that in. That's what I've been told. That's what I got from his Twitter feeds, not Twitter feeds, Facebook feeds, as well this week that I've got. So I believe he's no more with that. Whether that's true or not, I believe it's true. Hopefully still on the Max Wrestling podcast, so we'll have to wait and see on that one as well. But check everybody out on the Swerve Network each and every week and weekly as well, so be sure to check them all out and show some love. Also check out Mystery Island. Everybody, I hope everybody enjoyed Abyss, the Monster on the Island, August 4th. Be sure to look out for the one with is it Will Ospreay coming down? Yep. Will Ospreay's coming down there soon. I believe it's August 15th, I believe. I'm not sure. But if you want more information, guys, facebook.com/Back to the Island. Or be sure to check out their YouTube channels and everything else, which is in the description below if you're seeing this on YouTube, SoundCloud, or the Swerve Network, or Spreaker, because I put that up on there occasionally as well. And also check out the Mystery Island podcast. Also, if you're in the area, go and check them out, 56 to 58 Oxton Road. You know, go and check out the shop, because I'll be doing that the minute I'm in Liverpool at some point, because I will be there at some point. That'll be the first thing I will aim to do. So look out for that, guys, and check them out. Now, I owe a bit of an apology. But you've got to understand something, guys. Last week, I did a podcast for you guys, despite the fact that I was not 100%. I woke up Sunday morning with the biggest headache I've ever had in my life. I couldn't move. I couldn't think straight. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And it sucked, quite frankly. And I've been recovering all week. To get better and everything. And I'm sorry, guys. I put out the best podcast that I can bring to you guys last week, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Apart from one troll that was on one of my other podcasts as well, the Built to Destroy podcast, that talked about IWC. See, what you guys are going to understand is this. I do reviews because 99% of the time I want to, and 99% of the time I get people asking me to review their shows. Whatever happens on this podcast, on the channel, whether it's on this podcast or the wrestling channel, the Wrestling Matters channel as well, you've got to understand it's all about wrestling. Wrestling matters. Now, going to last week, I made a promise to myself, April 7th, 2014, to bring you a podcast each and every week, no matter how ill or bad I was. And I managed to get you that podcast on that Monday as well. And like I say, I made a promise to myself, and I like to think I'm a man of my word as well. I know at some point, guys, there's going to be a point at some point where I'm not going to be able to bring you a podcast. I know that. I'm aware of that. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I know it's going to happen at some point, and I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. There's going to get to the point where I'm not going to be able to bring you a podcast. I might be able to record one in advance if I can think one up, but I know at some point there's going to be a point where I'm not going to bring you a podcast. I mean, Kinney, I found out last week that Kinney didn't do a podcast because he was taking care of family business. I bet you never thought he had to do that in all these years of doing that podcast. But it was what it was. I've always, you've got to take care of family business. If personal matters come, personal matters and family business and whatever come before a podcast. That's a foregone conclusion. I understand that. But I've never missed a day, and I don't intend on starting on not missing a day anytime soon. So I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. It was the best that I can do, and I hope this week is a better podcast for you to enjoy. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a few things that I want to talk about. RKO out of nowhere. We all know the RKO from Brock Lesnar. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you right now, the RKO out of nowhere that was on Brock Lesnar on Monday Night Raw, which sets up their match at SummerSlam, which ended up having Brock Lesnar go to Smackdown and F5 him. Everybody wants to know, where did he come from? He came from underneath the ring. There's a video leaked online, which I saw on Facebook, from him popping out underneath the ring. God bless the fans, man, for taking the pictures and taking the photos and videos and that. Because he popped out from underneath the ring, ran in the ring, and RKO'd him, boom, straight there. So that's how it all began, ladies and gentlemen. And if I can, I will drop the video in the link below in the description on YouTube, SoundCloud, and Swerve Talk Network. So be sure to check that out as well, because it is a good video. And I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube somewhere. I just saw it on Facebook. So, the other thing that I want to talk about is GLORIOUSBOMB. Hashtag GLORIOUSBOMB. There's a video out, which, I'm sorry, it was fucking gold. And I'm sorry for saying that, but it was. It was pure gold. It had Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano having this photo of themselves with Bobby Roode in the background, and every time they'd go to Bobby Roode in the background, you'd hear his background, his theme song, Glorious. It was gold, okay? Just quality genius. Until the point where What Culture Wrestling, the WhatCulture.com team, Adam Blompier, Jack the Jobber, did it for King Ross as well, which, nice try, boys, but you can never beat that. Never beat that. Yeah, stealing someone's idea, trying to make it into your own, didn't work. Didn't work for you very well. It was a nice try, but you could never, ever top that one, because that was the Glorious Bomb. You could never top that. And the best thing about the Glorious Bomb as well was the last clip, because Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa were in Bobby Roode's hotel room while he was sleeping. They turned his light on. You hear the song. Roode gets up, and he has this look on his face that he wants to clout both of them. And then I think Gargano and Ciampa had that look on the face like, oh shit, we're in trouble here. You could clip us here anytime soon. Oh damn, what have we done? I think we peed him off a little bit. But then Roode just went, oh, sod it, and just went back to bed. It was just great stuff. And there's a video online. If I could put it in the description below, I will. It'll be in the description below. I'll make sure of it. It was good stuff. It really was. Right. John Cronin Show. I believe that's what they call the show. It is on YouTube. I saw this video on YouTube. It is a video of him having an interview with a fan on Raw, who went to a Raw program, had two signs, which were, one was Chip effing Day, you know, and the other one, I believe, some point said, tired of PG, let's do AWE, somewhere around about that. It was on his show, because he interviewed him on the show. And it shows clips and everything, and the security guard takes them away from him, says, if you don't give me them, they have to leave. You'll have to leave. You know? My beef with this is, whatever happened to freedom of expression? I remember back in the days, like 1997 time, you know, Vince McMahon would be on commentary and he would promote the fans. He would welcome the fans to bring in their signs, bring in their freedom of expression, you know, free speech and everything like that. Now, it doesn't seem that exists anymore, which is a complete joke, quite frankly. That doesn't exist anymore. You know, freedom of expression, free speech. And this is what's going to stop at some point. This is what's going to stop at some point people going to wrestling matches, WWE matches particularly, because they're going to want to bring signs, but will be too scared to bring signs, because if they say the wrong thing on that sign, they're going to get taken away or get threatened with kicked out as well. I mean, like I say, back in 1997, people, Vince McMahon loved that. He welcomed that. WWE welcomed that, or WWF back then. Now, it's got to the point where they don't care about that anymore. It's ridiculous, you know. I mean, all right, I've been to WWE shows, and I've never been the one to go and make a sign saying so-and-so, 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 you know, or anything like that. I just want to go there and see a wrestling show. That's all I want to see. I don't care about anything else. I'm just there to see a wrestling show. And have some fun too, but mainly to see a wrestling show. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, that's how they're going to lose their fans. And they need to sort that out quick. I mean, it's that as well as, I mean, before this draft, the brand extension, which they can't do that anymore now, even if they tried, because they used to edit Smackdown where Roman Reigns would get booed, but they would edit that out and have people cheer him. You know, like I said before in a previous episode of my podcast, I've talked about this before, when they were trying to force WWE fans to cheer him. You can't force that, you know. It's, you know, at times I just think WWE need to really think about their fans, because if they keep stuff like this up, they may lose them. You know, it is stuff like this that can make you lose your fans. And that's the last thing WWE need. That is the last thing WWE need. Just a quick thing, guys. It is August 15th. Monday, August 15th. A little quick promotion here. Assassin's Island, starring Will Ospreay. Mystery Island team, get yourself over there. You know, get yourself in there. You know where to go. Go and find it. And get yourself over there and meet the crazy bastard that is Will Ospreay. He is so good, it's not even funny. And, yeah, I've said what I've wanted to say, guys. Those were my opinions. Hope you guys enjoyed that little part there. I'm going to end this part here. And I'll be back in part 2 with Raw, SmackDown review, and a rant on Eva Marie, who in my opinion is a complete joke. Either that, or it's more WWE creative crap. You want to find out what I've got to say? See you after the break. If you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not check out their Facebook page at facebook.com/WM podcast and like the page and show your support to the podcast that stands up for professional wrestling, the Wrestling Matters podcast. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. Welcome back to part 2, ladies and gentlemen, of the Wrestling Matters podcast. My name is Anthony Walker. In case you've just tuned in and came into this part now to listen. And, yeah, it's time for the Raw and SmackDown review. Now, this might take longer than it needs, because I have a few little points that I want to bring up. So, I'll get to that in a second, though. I'll run through the Raw results, and then talk about any main points I need to talk about. Chris Jericho defeats Enzo Amore by disqualification. Braun Strowman wins his match. Darren Young gets a little bit of revenge on Titus O'Neil after last week. Seth Rollins addresses Finn Balor. Cesaro defeats Sheamus to prove himself to Mick Foley. Neville and Sin Cara defeat the Dudley Boys. Roman Reigns ruins the US Championship Rusev-Lana wedding slideshow that was having on. WWE Women's Champion defeats Dana Brooke to ban her from ringside at SummerSlam, so it's now going to be one-on-one at SummerSlam between Sasha Banks and Charlotte. Gallows beats Kingston, and for the United States title, Rusev defeats Cesaro. Now, there was a Finn Balor promo on there, which was really good. You might want to check that out. It's Roman Reigns versus Rusev for the United States title at SummerSlam as well. But what I want to talk about, the main point I want to talk about, is something I found out this week. It hasn't arrived yet because we all know it's going to be Finn Balor and Seth Rollins at SummerSlam for the Universal title. But I found out this week, according to a website, NoDQ.com, I found out that Brock Lesnar will get a championship match, Universal Championship match, at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view in January. Now, whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. But that's what's going to happen. So, my guess is that he may very well win the match with Randy Orton at SummerSlam, if that's the case. We don't know yet. You never say never. Seth Rollins and Finn Balor addressed each other, separate promos and that. It's going to be Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens taking on Enzo Amore and Big Cass at SummerSlam as well, which should be interesting. Now, Roman Reigns versus Rusev for the United States title. Is this very interesting? Yeah. But is this the end of Rusev's United States title reign? To be honest, I think so. I don't know if they're going to... I don't know what the deal is with WWE and Roman Reigns. I know he's not even going to be in the title picture for very long. But Rusev... I think they were trying to build Rusev up. I don't know if this is the case, if they do put the belt on Reigns, I don't know if this is the case of just finding something for him to do. Or see if he can prove himself again to be that top guy again. I don't know. But, yeah. It doesn't look good for Rusev. It doesn't look good for Rusev. And we'll find out at SummerSlam what the whole deal is. Now, it was okay, Raw. Good ending as well with a spear on Rusev at the end as well after his match with Cesaro. So, it was okay. It wasn't the best Raw, but it was okay. I'll give it an 8 out of 10 for that and 4 out of 5. Maybe a 3.5 out of 5 for it as well. Now we'll get to Smackdown. Now, this is what I want to talk about. Mainly, I want to talk about this in terms of one person on this brand. I'll get to that in a second, though. I'll run through the match and what went down. Chaos erupts between Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, and the Wyatt family, which leads to a tag team match later on in the evening after Dolph somehow super kicked Dean Ambrose in the face. American Alpha defeats local competitors with all the other tag team competitors around ringside. Becky Lynch versus Eva Marie resulted in a no contest, and Alexa Bliss then beats Becky Lynch. I'll get to that in a second. I'm not happy with that. Randy Orton defeats Alberto Del Rio, all build up to his match with Brock at SummerSlam. Rhino defeats Heath Slater to deny the one-man band a SmackDown Live contract, even though he was going to get offered it until he ran his mouth off too much. Carmella impressively makes Natalya tap out. Corbin attacks Kalisto backstage, and Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler somehow beat the Wyatt family, only for Dean Ambrose to attack Dolph after the match with Dirty Deeds. Now for the women's match, which was supposed to be Becky Lynch again one-on-one with Eva Marie. But last week she faked an injury. This week her wardrobe malfunctioned. That's right. I don't know how it happened, but apparently she couldn't compete. So, credit to Becky, she gave somebody else an opportunity, which was Alexa Bliss. Credit to her. She gave somebody else the opportunity. Alexa came out and had a good match with Becky. And then for some reason, Eva Marie pops out and costs Becky the match. And Alexa Bliss ends up beating Becky Lynch. Who does this bitch think she is? Seriously? And you know what the sick thing about it is? This is probably all building up to a match between Becky Lynch and Eva Marie at SummerSlam. This woman doesn't even deserve to be in the WWE, let alone SummerSlam. It makes me sick. It drives me mad. And how is she on Raw? Or SmackDown, rather. You know, why did she get picked in the first place? I mean, people don't like her. And it's stuff like this that makes you wonder why she's getting booed out the building every first chance to get, and why the people do not like her. It's ridiculous. And I hope she has a match at SummerSlam, whether it's on the pre-show or the main card. And you know what? I hope Becky Lynch bashes the brains out of her. Because she deserves it, man. Absolutely deserves it. Feud heating up between Dolph and Dean Ambrose as well. It's all leading in to their match at SummerSlam. You know, with the super kick situation and everything else like that. And, yeah, it's going to be interesting. There's no question about that. There's no question about that at all. It's going to be very, very interesting. And I'm very much looking forward to the match. And I think it's turning into a game of, can you tap this? And we'll have to see the final outcome at SummerSlam. All in all, I liked SmackDown better than Raw this week, in my opinion. And I will give that... I'll keep it as the same score, but I'll give it a 4 out of 5 and an 8 out of 10. So that's just my view on that. I thought SmackDown was just a little bit better than Raw this week. They might want to consider getting rid of Eva Marie, unless she doesn't pull her weight. But all this building into SummerSlam, she doesn't even deserve to be in the WWE, let alone SummerSlam, in my opinion. All in all, guys, that is the end of part 2. I'll be back for part 3 with NXT and Ring of Honor. Part 4 with TNA and some ICW here and there. And then I've got something special for part 5. We'll get to that as well. So, see you in a bit.
There's only one wrestling podcast that gives you honest, uncut opinions and the most unique trivia since WWE did The Weakest Link. And the only place you can hear the show-stealing podcast promo every single week.
Covering WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground. Matt's Wrestling Podcast is the place for you. Join myself, Evan Money McCabe, the Phoenix, and the Butcher. Sundays at 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time with your host, Danny Dangerously, on VOC Nation and the Swerve Talk Network.
Go to maxwrestling.wix.com/maxwrestling or follow us at maxwrestlinguk for more details.
Give in to the madness.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kenny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shugs.
Yes! Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Welcome back to part 3 of the Wrestling Matters podcast, ladies and gentlemen. In this podcast, on this round, we're going to talk NXT. And yeah, we're going to talk Ring of Honor as well, but let's do NXT first. NXT on each and every Wednesday before, I believe, CWC, which you can check out during the week. And NXT this week builds up to the Brooklyn show, which is August 19th, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the results, I'll go through the results first. The results were Asuka and Bayley signed their contract for the NXT title match at Brooklyn. The Authors of Pain win their squash match. Andrade beats Angelo Dawkins. Billie Kay beats Liv Morgan. And Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa win their tag team match, and NXT champion Samoa Joe defeats Mojo Rawley in a non-title match. Andrade Almas may have defeated Angelo Dawkins, but it seems that Mr. Bobby Roode wants a piece of the guy, so they will meet at TakeOver in Brooklyn, August 20th. It's Saturday, August 20th. So that should be interesting. Very interesting. Also, Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa proved they are a tag team, despite the fact they were beating the crap out of each other in CWC. And Shinsuke Nakamura sent a little message to one Samoa Joe, building up to their title match at Brooklyn. So that was pretty much it for NXT, guys. Can't wait for Brooklyn. Looking forward to Brooklyn. But let's get into Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor this week. So Will Ferrara and Jay White go at it. Two young guys starting off. Very good match between the two, which saw Jay White win. And the Fish Tank, which saw a build up to the TV title match at Death Before Dishonor, involving Mark Briscoe and Bobby Fish. But I called it last week. I mentioned this last week on the podcast, and I'll do it again today. I said it to you last week. The week before, or it was last week's show actually, the Bullet Club shaved the head of Jay Lethal. And like I said, I called it. Jay Lethal wouldn't stand for it. He had his match with Colt Cabana, which was a great match, and retained the Ring of Honor World title. And then after the match, he pulled Nigel McGuinness in the ring and demanded a world title match, or demanding a match, and he said he was going to put his world title on the line against Adam Cole. And reluctantly, even though he didn't want to, Nigel McGuinness accepted. So at Death Before Dishonor, it's on. Adam Cole, one-on-one with a now bald Jay Lethal for the Ring of Honor World title. Can Adam Cole get his request and get his dream? Or will Jay Lethal prove he's the best Ring of Honor World Champion around at the moment? We'll have to wait and see. But August 19th, Death Before Dishonor just got a little interesting. And I'm really, really, really looking forward to that match. Considering what I've been watching on Ring of Honor television, I need to see that match. I really, really, really need to see that match. And I'll be very much looking forward to it. Can the Ring of Honor World Champion be a member of the Bullet Club? We'll have to wait and see. It all takes place August 19th, 2016. Death Before Dishonor in Las Vegas, Nevada. And with that being said, guys, that is the end of part 3. I didn't want to do too much of this. So, part 3 is now over. I'll be back in part 4 with TNA results and a promotion for ICW, a little mention of ICW as well. And then I've got something planned for part 5 as well, so I'll see you after this.
If you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not follow the Wrestling Matters podcast now on Twitter at WM Podcast for all professional wrestling news. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans.
Welcome back, everybody, to part 4 of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Now, I'll go through TNA in this episode, in this part as well. TNA had Mike Bennett and Moose defeat EC3 and Eddie Edwards. Gail Kim defeats Marty Bell in a no disqualification match. Maria then announces Gail Kim and Jay for next week on Impact. Another broken Matt Hardy video airs, yada yada yada. The Decay cut a promo, said Bram is on the stairway to hell. Drew Galloway cuts a promo on EC3. Broken Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy defeat the Tribunal. Al Snow. Jeff scored the winning pinfall after the match. Jeff went crazy, hitting a swanton bomb on a table over Al Snow, and then over another table with no one on it. He laughed and yelled, "I'm Brother Nero." Matt yelled back, "You are broken." Okay, more lunatic bullshit, I guess. And Lashley now holds all 3 titles, X Division, King of the Mountain, and the World title, because he beat James Storm. Pointless. But that match had an interesting guest watch on, and his name was Aron Rex, who makes his TNA debut, ladies and gentlemen. He made his TNA debut, and for those of you who don't know who Aron Rex is, it is really Aaron Stevens, better known to WWE fans as Damien Sandow. That's right, Damien Sandow for some reason is now in TNA. Former WWE superstar Damien Sandow made his debut under the new name Aron Rex. Josh Matthews mentioned other 3 agents like Cody Rhodes, Ryan Reeves, Ryback, and Stu Wade Barrett also being available. Rex cut a promo talking about his former employer and how TNA is about talent. He said he came to TNA to make an impact. Maybe he should just go back to WWE and cut his losses, quite frankly. But in any event, guys, that's the TNA side of things. Now, for ICW, I'll talk about this a little quickly as well. They have a Friday Night Fight Club special up on there, which is based on the Shug's House Party weekend as well. So be sure to check that out. It's on the ICW On Demand service. InsaneWrestling.co.uk is what it is. I always get that wrong. So be sure to check that out as well. See if there's any more videos up there. No. It is ICW Fight Club Tour Special, Birmingham, 30th of July 2016, right before, the day before, Shug's host party, which I've already reviewed. Check that out on the Wrestling Matters channel. A few other things up there to do with Shug's house party as well. Friday night Fight Club Tour Special in Manchester as well. Or Fight Club Tour Special in Manchester. So be sure to check all of it out, guys, on the ICW On Demand service. And also check out the review on the Wrestling Matters channel. Also, I want to give a quick mention as well to Progress. That's right, Progress Wrestling. Progress Wrestling have their own on-demand service. I'm subscribed to both of these on-demand service because they are literally the best thing going today in terms of on-demand service. There's no question about that. And I am getting my money's worth for both of them, let me tell you. I was checking out the Progress Wrestling chapter, the new chapter that just came out this week as well. Also check out other things as well on there. Also check out the Jimmy Havoc documentary. Yes, Jimmy Havoc has a documentary DVD thing out there going back to his best heel turn and everything else before that. A few things here and there as well. A Progress title match. Pastor William Everett versus Paul Robinson as well. That's up there as well. Chapter 32, 500 to 1 is up there. Chapter 33, Malice in Wonderland. Chapter 30, the Strong Style Tournament, Day 2 as well as Day 1. Chapter 1, All Hail the New Portrins, or whatever they call that. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. Just a lot of great Progress Wrestling content up there as well. You have to check it out. It is the same service that uses the ICW service as well for their on-demand service, so go and check it out. Progress Wrestling's website, be sure to check it out. It is worth the watch, believe me. Both of them are worth the price. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps it up for this part. I'll be back in part 5 with a What Culture Top 10, so stay tuned. Be sure to check out the Wrestling Matters channel at www.youtube.com/AJW Wrestling Matters for my exclusive review series that I'm doing on WCPW, What Culture Pro Wrestling, brought to you by the good folks at whatculture.com. Each and every week, I'll be reviewing their shows, whether it's loaded or their big upcoming shows as well, each and every week on their YouTube channel. Be sure to check out the Wrestling Matters channel for review shows each and every week. You can also download them for free on SoundCloud. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kenny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shugs.
Yes! Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 5th and final part of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Hope you guys have enjoyed the show. And yeah, you can hear all of the podcasts, ladies and gentlemen. You can hear this episode of the Wrestling Matters podcast on the Swerve Network with Max Wrestling, Offshoot Radio, Evan McCabe on Max Wrestling since he's no longer doing his own podcast anymore, from what I got told anyway. And don't forget Sunday Segway as well. Check them all out each and every weekend, starting from Saturday to Monday. I know because I'm always last on there. So check them all out, give them some love, and show respect. Also, coming up in September, I will have the S&M Show podcast on as well. That's right, the S&M Show podcast team will be on. You've all know Michael Larkin when he's bringing his partner on as well, so that'll be in sometime September, I think. Michael, if you listen to this, get in touch with me about that as well, just to, make sure everything's cool and everything is crisp, and we're still on for that day that we set. Also, check out Mystery Island as well. Facebook.com/Back to the Island. Go and check out all the wrestlers that come down there. Go and check out the shop in general. And just go and check it all out and see what you can do. as well. You know, get yourself some autographs, get yourself some cool merchandise, and show your support to Mystery Island as well. We are very big support. Well, I'm very big supporters of Mystery Island here on the Wrestling Matters podcast, and we always promote them in any way, shape, or form. And hell, I've promoted them that much. I've got some cool things out with them as well. So, cheers, guys. Shout out to everybody in charge there, including Mr. Anderson as well, David Anderson. And guys, if you want to know who's coming next, I believe August 15th, somewhere round about now at least, as this is going out August 15th today, I believe Will Ospreay is coming down. So, guys, if you can get there, check it out. You know, get yourself some autograph signs, some cool merchandise from the man himself. Facebook.com/Back to the Island. Also, check out the podcast of Mystery Island as well. 56 to 58 Oxton Road in Birkenhead, in Middlesbrough. In Liverpool. Wow, I wish it was in Middlesbrough. But in Liverpool, England, get yourself over there. That will be the first place I will go to if I'm ever in town. Also, something that was brought up to me on Facebook, guys. Her name is Bacardi. She's a wrestler on Twitter, at Bacardi Wrestler. Check it out. Check her out on Twitter as well. And check her out because she sent me a link on Facebook. It is www.facebook.com/Wrestlers Against Cancer. It's supporting the fight against cancer. It has got 2,162 likes on the page. It is facebook.com/Wrestlers Against Cancer. Go and check it out, guys. Fight against cancer. Yes, the support as well for Chris Travis and what he went through as well. Rest in peace, Chris Travis. You know, show your support, man. Kick cancer out. Invite your friends, invite people that you know that will support this cause as well. You know, get more people up there. It has got 2,106 likes. Let's get some more on that, man. Let's get some more on that as well. So, facebook.com/Wrestlers Against Cancer. Check it out, guys. It's, you know, simple as that. Support the cause. Support, you know, the cause and whatever it is as well. Also, check out facebook.com/WM Podcast for the Wrestling Matters Podcast Facebook page. I know I haven't done a lot of stuff on this podcast on this page lately. I have 1,256 likes. Love some more, guys. Be sure to check it out. Leave your like. It's where you can listen to the podcast as well, because the podcast will be promoted on there as well. Just check it out, guys. Just check it out. That's all you got to do. Check it out and see where it goes. There's a lot of stuff on there. I do work on there. I'm thinking of doing some projects for this page as well, guys, just to let you know, FYI and all that. I'm looking to do some projects for this page in terms of maybe a Facebook page as well. I know it's Kenny's been doing a lot of Facebook videos for his page as well, which seems to be a good idea. Hopefully, I want to do them a bit longer than what Kenny's doing. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, record them for Facebook and put them up on Facebook, and then, you know, check them out from there really as well. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. I mean, it's a good idea at the end of the day. It keeps things going, keeps things fresh for future podcasts and that. And also, check it out. Check out Sunday Segway as well. I believe it's facebook.com/Sunday Segway as well. Right, that's the promotions out of the way. Holy shit, I had to go through a lot there. But now, since we're heading into SummerSlam week, ladies and gentlemen, and it is SummerSlam, as I'm doing this podcast, it's actually this Sunday. My birthday's Friday. So, yeah, it is a SummerSlam, right? So, I've got a video here. 10 times WWE got the SummerSlam main events wrong. This should be interesting. Very interesting indeed. And I might as well go down to number 10, which was the SummerSlam 1989 one, which saw Brutus Beefcake and Hulk Hogan going up against Macho Man Randy Savage and Zeus. Now, the original plan for this, guys, was supposed to be Hulk Hogan defending the WWF Championship against Macho Man Randy Savage. However, considering Hogan did no holds barred that year, I believe, and also stuff like that, Vince McMahon, and I believe Hogan had a piece of this as well, had an idea to bring in Zeus in to feud with Hogan. You know, no holds barred, bring it into WWE. And then in came Brutus Beefcake. So Macho's plans of getting the WWF title shot at SummerSlam, the rematch from WrestleMania 5, which would have been a, more logic idea, thinking about it, never happened. And we ended up getting the tag team match that we got. Now, no disrespect to Beefcake, no disrespect to Hogan or Savage for that matter, but Zeus did not bring anything to the match. Quite frankly, neither did Beefcake. It would have been better if they brought in Hogan and Savage and just had them go at it for the rematch. That was my opinion. That's just my opinion on that one. I mean, I can't understand why they didn't have, they had the Mega Power main event at WrestleMania, and then they didn't have the ultimate rematch at SummerSlam in '89, which, makes no sense to me. But anyway, number 9, the World Heavyweight Championship match involving Randy Orton and Chris Benoit. The match that will never be talked about. Because if you ask somebody who became, who was who did Randy Orton beat for his first world title in WWE, no doubt Vince McMahon will turn around and go the Invisible Man. But it was Chris Benoit. Now, this was, at the time, WWE's way of trying to build in a new youngest world champion ever, because WWE lost Brock Lesnar, who was the youngest WWE champion of all time. So they thought they'd do this with Randy Orton as well. I don't see the problem with this, whether they got this wrong or not. Should have been the main event at SummerSlam? No, quite frankly, but it happened. It was what it was. At the end of the day, it was what it was. Now, Hogan, Warrior, Slaughter, Adnan, and Mustafa. At SummerSlam 91, this is number 8. Did they get this wrong? Because SummerSlam 91, which was my very first SummerSlam, by the way, and very first WWE pay-per-view in general, had a Highway to Hell match, or match made in hell, and a match made in heaven's match. Now, I don't know why this was the main event. Quite frankly, I think the original plan for the SummerSlam 91 was to see Hogan versus the Warrior. But that didn't take place, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, the reason why it didn't take place was because, as you all know, if you watch the Warrior DVD or you read the dirt sheets and shit like that, I believed that the reason why the Warrior match never happened is because, well, we all know Warrior held McMahon up for money in his match, and he said he wasn't going to do the main event unless he got the right amount of pay that he wanted, which he did, but then he also got a pink slip afterward, and McMahon fired him, so only to bring him back at WrestleMania 8. Yeah. Number 7 was Brock Lesnar and Triple H from SummerSlam 2012. Their fight at the SummerSlam match. I think this was Brock's first year back. And, yeah, I can see why they had this match in the main event. Should it have been the main event? Probably not. But I had no problem with this match as the main event of SummerSlam, to be honest. Because it was a good fight. Lesnar won with the Komodo. And, yeah, broke Triple H's arm in the process. The next one was SummerSlam 03, the Elimination Chamber match. Now, to be honest, I don't know who came up with this idea for the Elimination Chamber match in 03, at the SummerSlam 03 show. Because everybody wanted to see Triple H go one-on-one with Goldberg for the world title. But then somebody came up with a bright idea, let's have the Elimination Chamber match. Goldberg, after going through everybody in sight leading into this point from when he first started right after WrestleMania. He demolished everybody in the match, and then Triple H ends up retaining the title with a sledgehammer thanks to Ric Flair. The following month at Unforgiven, Goldberg wins the title. 1 month too late, if you ask me. 1 month too late. And then at Survivor Series, Armageddon, Triple H gets his belt back. Yeah. Anyway, next one is Team WWE versus Team Nexus. I think the only thing that was wrong about this match was the ending. And John Cena, Edge, and Jericho, specifically John Cena, was right about this as well. The only thing that was wrong about this main event was it should have been Nexus winning. That was the only reason about it. But Bonehead John Cena messes it all up. So, yeah, that was just about all we can say on that one. The next one is Brock Lesnar, Undertaker from 2015. Now, I knew this would have been the main event. I don't know why the main event got wrong. I think the reason why they got this one wrong is because of the ending, which was the most strangest ending ever. Yes, Taker tapped out, but you can understand why this was the ending they did. Maybe they should have had this where the John Cena Seth Rollins match, and maybe we never got to see the bullshit ending in that match. But you could probably understand why they did that at the end. SummerSlam 1999 was the next one. Triple H, Mankind, and Steve Austin. Now, the reason why this was wrong in many people's eyes, because we all thought Triple H was going to win the title that night. However, Austin didn't want to do the job to Triple H. So, he got Mick Foley involved, and it ended up being a triple threat match. And he jobbed to Mick Foley, Mankind, and then gets injured, gets, attacked after the match and whatever. And then Triple H wins the match the next night on War, and Foley drops the title to him, and Triple H becomes the champion. I don't know why that didn't happen at SummerSlam rather. I don't know why, but hey, at least Triple H got to win the title. 1994 SummerSlam, Undertaker versus Undertaker. Now, you can understand why this was main event, but it really didn't need to be main event. Bret Hart, Owen Hart cage match should have been the main event of that pay-per-view. But you can understand, because most of the build-up for this match anyway, a majority of it anyway, was all around this match. So, I think I would probably say this match, Undertaker versus Undertaker, got more build-up than Owen and Bret did. But, yeah, it was what it was. 1995, King Mabel versus Diesel. Now, I think this was go down as a horrible main event, and one that Kevin Nash will probably not well remember, because at one point King Mabel injured him in this match. But this goes into the match where, if you win the King of the Ring, you get a title shot at SummerSlam. Obviously, King Mabel won the King of the Ring in 95, hence to this title shot that he's got here. Owen won it in 94, gets a title shot at SummerSlam. Whatever. It would have been in 93 if Hogan hadn't have backed out for Bret. But, yeah. I think we would have rather seen Bret and Diesel in this match, to be honest with you, rather than King Mabel, because, like I've said, and Kevin said this in an interview at one point as well, he specifically told Mabel not to do a move in the match, and he goes and does it, and then they have an argument after the match. So, it just is what it is at the end of the day. And it wasn't a very good match to begin with, but, it was what it was. And Diesel went on for a year, and I think that was the bad run that Diesel had, because he didn't do very well in terms of drawing power regarding him being the champion for the year, man. I mean, which was disappointing, man, because I thought he was... back then, I was still a kid back then and everything, but I actually thought he was a good champion back then. That's just me. That's just me. I must have missed something out in that respect, but... yeah, probably should have been Bret instead of Mabel. I think that would have been more better. But in any event, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps it up for this episode of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Tune in next time for episode 125. I had the 10 SummerSlam main events that WWE got wrong for SummerSlam. I will have another one on SummerSlam next week, the greatest moments of SummerSlam. shocking moments or whatever it is. I'll find out, but I'll have it next week for you. That will be the main event of this podcast next week, so tune in for that as well, plus all the usual stuff as well. And until then, guys, check out everybody else that I've mentioned. Check out facebook.com/WM Podcast, at WM Podcast on Twitter. Show your support to the Wrestling Matters Podcast. Download it for free on SoundCloud. And until next time, guys, peace out.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change! Professional wrestling! This is it! This is us standing up!
Yes! 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 Yes!
That's 13-14!
Make it till death!
Cena, I am the best in the world.
Cause that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold said so.